There is a version of union you have been imagining that feels like finally becoming one with another person, like the boundaries between you dissolving, like the separation that has been so painful finally ending in a merging that makes the waiting worthwhile, like two flames becoming a single flame. That image is beautiful, and it is also, in a precise and important way, incompatible with what genuine union actually requires. Because here is what nobody in the twin flame community says clearly enough. Two people cannot genuinely meet if one of them has dissolved into the other. Union is not the end of separateness. It is the fullest expression of two separate people choosing each other from within that separateness. And the path toward it is not the erosion of your individual self. It is the deepening of it. This video is about what soul autonomy actually means, about why the merger fantasy, however beautiful, produces the opposite of what you are seeking, and about what it actually feels like in the body when two autonomous people come into genuine contact. The most confronting thing I am going to say today is this: if you have been trying to dissolve your boundaries to become more available for union, you have been moving in the wrong direction the entire time. Stay with me. Here is the belief underneath the merger fantasy. The belief is this: the pain of separation is the pain of being apart from my other half. When we finally unite, we will become whole together. The closer I can get to that merging, the closer I am to what this connection is supposed to produce. That belief is not wrong about the pain. The longing is real, and the desire for closeness is completely understandable. But it misidentifies what the closeness is supposed to produce. Two halves merging cannot create wholeness. They can only create two people who have each given up the part of themselves that makes genuine contact possible. Real union is not the closing of the gap between two people. It is the quality of presence that two whole and separate people bring into the gap between them. Heinz Kohut spent decades documenting how the self develops and what it requires to remain coherent in intimate relationships. His central finding was precise: a healthy self is not self-sufficient, but it is self-cohesive. It maintains its own center of gravity even while being genuinely moved and affected by another person. Kohut distinguished between what he called mature interdependence and archaic merger. Mature interdependence is the experience of being genuinely close to another person while remaining fully recognizable to yourself. You are affected. You are changed by the encounter, but you do not disappear into it. Archaic merger is the collapse of the self-other boundary. One person's sense of coherence becomes contingent on the other person's presence and emotional state. The self cannot regulate itself independently. It needs the other to remain organized. What Kohut found is that archaic merger does not produce genuine intimacy. It produces a particular kind of loneliness that is among the most confusing experiences available to a human being. The loneliness of being in the presence of someone you love while being unable to actually meet them. Because meeting requires two distinct presences. When one has dissolved, there is no one left to do the meeting. You may have had a moment like this. You were with the divine masculine or thinking about them with unusual clarity, and you noticed something that felt strange to acknowledge. That in the moments of greatest closeness, you had the least access to yourself, your own opinions, your own reactions, your own sense of what you needed. It was as if the intensity of the connection required you to become less distinct rather than more present. You did not name it immediately. It felt disloyal to notice, but the sensation was specific. The closer you moved toward the connection, the harder it became to locate yourself inside it. That was not a failure of the connection. That was information about what the connection was asking you to become, and what it was asking for was not union. It was dissolution. The first sign is called the self-location difficulty. In the presence of the divine masculine, or during periods of intense focus on the connection, you find it genuinely difficult to access your own perspective. Your opinions feel uncertain. Your preferences feel unclear. Your nervous system loses its own signal in the noise of the other person's emotional state. This is not depth. This is the early stage of archaic merger. The second sign is called the regulation dependency. Your emotional state is primarily determined by the status of the connection. When the divine masculine is present or responsive, your nervous system regulates. When they are absent or unresponsive, it dysregulates. Your internal equilibrium has been outsourced, and a self that cannot regulate independently cannot bring genuine presence to any encounter. The third sign is called the opinion erosion. You have noticed that your views on things have quietly shifted to align more closely with what you perceive the divine masculine values or believes, not through genuine persuasion, through the unconscious adaptation of a self that has learned that staying distinct feels dangerous in this connection. Sovereignty requires that your perspective remain genuinely yours, even in the presence of someone you love deeply. The fourth sign is called the contact paradox. The moments of greatest emotional closeness with the divine masculine are also the moments when you feel most unable to speak your actual truth. The intimacy and the self-expression cannot coexist. That paradox is not a feature of deep connection. It is the signature of a dynamic that has confused merger with meeting. The fifth sign is called the post-contact depletion. After periods of intense focus on or interaction with the divine masculine, you feel emptied rather than nourished, as though the contact required you to give something rather than exchange something. Genuine meeting between two autonomous people produces a quality of aliveness in both. Merger produces depletion in the one who dissolved. I want to give you something right now. This is called the self-location practice. Take one slow breath and let your body settle. Place both feet flat on the floor. Now, without referencing the connection at all, finish these 3 sentences in your own mind. Right now I feel. Right now I need. Right now I want. Not what the connection needs. Not what the divine masculine needs. What you need. What you feel. What you want. Right now. In this body. In this moment. Stay with each answer for 10 seconds before moving to the next. This is not a small practice. This is the daily act of maintaining the self that genuine union will one day require you to bring. Union is not the end of your separateness. It is the moment when your separateness and another person's separateness become the precise ground on which genuine contact becomes possible. You cannot be truly met by someone if you have disappeared before they arrive. The most loving thing you can do for this connection is to remain entirely and unapologetically yourself inside it. Integration does not mean becoming more merged. It means becoming more coherently you, and a coherently whole you is the only version of yourself that a genuine union can actually be built with. Drop a comment below and tell me one specific way you have been making yourself smaller or less distinct inside this connection. Name it precisely, because naming it is the first act of reclaiming the presence that genuine union requires. If this kind of honest and grounded perspective is what you have been searching for, subscribe to Divine Flame Union, because this is the depth we bring every single week.